So, last we left our intrepid adventurers, we were in a inn on the shallow sea that was run by a Mire-Maid proprietor, or Mire-Man proprietor. And we'd settled in for the night, but he'd given it to Aurora, right? A note?
Aurora, she had done a thing to make it clear that they were, it was okay to talk to her, and they were quite powerful.
She was all diplomacy and stuff.
And he said, in a very surreptitious way, I think he wrote it on the bill.
Yeah.
It's like, be awake at midnight tonight, and in the common room.
Right.
But don't tell anyone. So, he was visibly scared.
Yeah.
When he was being just kind of weird and nervous when they came, and then he was, really freaking out when he gave her that note. But
so we did that thing, and then, sure enough, we sneaked down into the commons room, and we hear him outside. Or was it? I think it was only Hank that.
Only Hank heard it because it was outside, and they heard someone say, "Are you going to take the deal again this year?" And he said, "Yes." And then all of a sudden, all these voices start whispering,
"We're here for your blood.
We're here for your blood.
Yeah.
Your blood belongs to us. Yeah. We're here for your blood."
So there were all these ooze monster things outside. They're like, we didn't see them because we were, like, crap, monsters attack. Seal the doors. Excuse me. But later when we saw them, they were like blobs of vaguely humanoid silt with a water coating. And they wanted our blood, apparently. So, first things first, Serendipity Vengold Strider Malor Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge Topper Towers casts, what is it, Wizard Lock? The whole portal thing? Yeah.
Yeah, the one that's a standard action but
Yeah.
takes a healing surge.
On the front door. And then Corrosus goes into the kitchen, in the back. See, there's the commons room, and then there's the kitchen. Those are the two main rooms for this fight. There's also another section which is like the rooms and stuff. We didn't really go in there much. The main action was in the commons room in front and the kitchen in back. And the kitchen had a back entrance that just led out onto this little dock or jetty or whatever. And so Croesus goes into the kitchen, and he uses, what is it called? Shards of Time? Shattered Time, I think it is. It creates a zone, a 5x5 zone. It basically fills the kitchen and spills slightly out into the, out the back door onto that jetty. Where if anything attacks one of his allies, he can teleport adjacent to it and counter that. It's like, it's like he's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's really good to be fighting in that zone. It's a really awesome ability. So we sort of figure, okay, we'll try and hold the front door and not let them in, but we'll leave the back door open, let them come in one by one, and kill them as they come. Because we have a huge advantage in there.
Yeah.
Well, and Serendipity had done...
It's almost like fighing in my weakened zone that I set up.
Serendipity set up a really...
Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge Topper of Towers.
Her check was really good on the front door, and it became apparent in the first round where, like, they heard a bunch of the "We're here for your blood" guys hitting the door. Something happened, and then they hear a big "I'm here for your blood," and starts slamming on the door, and it's just not budging. The door jamb is splintering and smashing, but the door is perfect and pristine.
Yeah. So we sort of left the common room. Oh, also the NPCs, of course. When we first heard, that oh, we're here for your blood, we immediately started rousing the NPCs and said, 2 arms, we're under attack.
And they were all awake because they'd done such a poor stealth check when they came down there that they were all just like sitting there holding their weapons anyway. But then they start hearing all the whispering, and a lot of them are freaking out because not all of them are fighters.
Yeah.
Okay, one of you needs to go upstairs and alert everyone, and like half of them are like, okay, I'll do it, and they all cram and run out the door into the other room.
Next round we hear all the screaming and dying
From the rooms area, yeah.
So yeah, we're like, okay, they're coming in through the windows or something.
Well, that was about the time that they started coming in through the windows.
There was a shuttered window in the commons room that hadn't been wizard locked, and so they started smashing their way through that.
But before that happened, they had already opened the kitchen door because Croesus didn't even try to hold it.
Yeah, because we wanted them to come in one by one and get killed.
Yeah.
And they had a couple of big daddies, and they had a whole lot of. Were they minions or just?
They were minions, yeah. There was tons and tons of minions.
And we cut a swath through those minions. We wore them down real quick.
Especially with that shattered time thing.
Yeah.
Like basically, they'd walk in the room, hit someone, and before they even hit, Croesus would just teleport next to them, kill them.
Yeah.
And they're just being cut to pieces.
Yeah.
When they were killed, he would kill them. The water would silty water would slush off, and it would leave for a second
crusty
like a humanoid skeleton that was like all gooby, and then it would fall into a blob on the floor. And so they were ripping through those guys.
Yeah.
So there's like ancient sand mages or something?
I don't know. Yeah, time mages. We'll go with time. They're probably time mages.
Well, no, they turn into black goo piles.
I think these are variant time mages. These are from a parallel universe.
I think these are ancient sand mages. This is my guess.
I don't know what they are, but they're not nice, and we killed a crap ton of them. So, the common room eventually got compromised, but we decided we didn't really care all that much. We didn't want to fight them in there, so we fell back to the kitchen. And all the surviving NPCs, we also had, herded them back into the kitchen.
Yeah.
They didn't really do a whole lot, but
they weren't really up for the fight. I mean, even the fighter types, I was imagining them being like third level.
Yeah.
I was basically treating them as if they'd actually had a chance to hit, or if most of you guys kept them to the back, so they never had a chance.
Yeah.
They could have maybe hit them. Like they're kind of maybe one to one with those minions, right? They might be able to kill a minion, but they were also minions themselves, right?
Yeah.
So they were one-hit kill guys. So they're very vulnerable.
There was also the bar. There was the kitchen had a main door into the commons room, but there was also a bar, and the bar had a separate door. Everyone sort of forgot about it for the first half of the combat, including the baddies. But then we sort of realized that it was there, and we had the NPCs as part of the detail that was keeping that door shut, and Aurora was on that door and stuff like that. But anyway,
that was when we discovered that I hadn't drawn a counter or any furniture in the kitchen, and Rob was like, "Well, you can tell how often you're working in the kitchen by what's in here." And so I quickly drew something. I'm like, "Oh, I know what's in the kitchen. There's that counter thing and one of those wife doer thingies."
So a lot was made of the wife doer. Yeah, but anyway, having sort of removed all the minions, there were now just a couple of the big toughs.
Yeah.
And they were coming up to the door and then getting pinned down right at the door, and we were pounding on them. So it wasn't good for them either. It was just taking them longer to die.
Yeah, they were sort of bigger and blobbier, huge things of water that they had seen, and
so we were in a really good position. But then, we heard the original voice that is you're going to take the deal, right? Start yelling about why is it locked? Why is it locked? You violated the deal.
Yes, and it was sort of a more feminine voice, and as she's trying to smash the door, she's just getting madder and madder that it was locked, and so she finally realized, they were ready for us.
Yes. You broke the deal.
You broke the deal.
And so she goes for the Mireman proprietor who had warned us. And we're sort of a little bit on the horns of a dilemma here because we've got a perfect fortified position. But this guy's toast in a round. Out there.
Well, and that was right around the time that Aurora also made it an intimidate check to make we're killing you guys left, right, and center. We're way more powerful than you to these minions that are coming in, and that was right at the same time that the leader turned on the proprietor, and so they suddenly realized, hey, they are tough. This was set up, and so they suddenly switched, and instead of saying "We're here for your blood." They started saying, "We're here for his blood," and they started walking away. And they they started just walking away from their fortified nugget, all going towards the Marmaid proprietor who's outside.
And this is where the party goody two-shoesness kicks in.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, we gotta save him.
Right.
How it went was Hank was the one that was on the door to the commons room. So he was the one closest to getting out there. So Hank ran out there. And he had the hook shot. I think his intention was to grab the proprietor and bring him inside, and then we could have him safe in the kitchen, or something like that. I don't know if he actually had a plan going out there, but that would have been a good one.
Well, that's sort of because he ended up using a cinematic point.
Yeah.
Because he got there just in time, and the I think just then the leader of them, who was not so big, hit the Mireman and knocked him prone. He was laying there prone, and he was they saw him out here. He was begging for his life, saying, "Please, it wasn't a trick. I swear it wasn't a trick. I didn't know." And he's begging for his life, and the water all around him is churning with like little hands trying to come up and grab him.
This is why he hasn't dived off the side and swum away, because they're good at that.
And then the leader doesn't believe him, smacks him, knocks him prone, and
so that's when Hank dives in there with his cinematic point. Now, how did the sequence of events go? Because there was a lot of events in this little moment of time here.
Hank grabbed the Mireman by one of his legs, probably his little leg or whatever, shot the beam shot up to the roof, and pulled him up to the roof and hurled him up onto the roof with Hank hanging on to the edge of the roof. So the Mireman is now up on the roof because he had been completely surrounded.
Right.
Like the one girl hit him, but the rest all had surrounded him and were right around him next turn.
He was basically toast.
And I think he was already bloody just from that one hit.
Yeah.
And so he's hurled up on the roof now, and Hank is hanging from the roof. The enemies go, so all the silt water monsters start going, and they just start walking sideways up the roof, because that seems like something that water stuff could do. And they start walking sideways up the roof, and Hank wants to take an attack of opportunity, which I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do in that situation. But I said, if you make a climb check, and if you roll less than this, you'll fall. Otherwise, you just make your attack of opportunity. He's like, oh, I can't fail. So, but then he says, oh, unless I roll a 1. And then he rolls a 1. So the first silt monster comes up, he kicks it, hits it, and then loses his balance and falls onto the ground, prone, hits the deck. And then all the rest of them start going up to the roof, all around the proprietor, who then grabs the beam shot that's still hanging there, because otherwise Hank must have let go of it to fall. Grabs the beam shot that's hanging there and beam shots across to the other side of the roof to get away from these guys. And everyone's shouting, "Come in the kitchen, come in the kitchen."
Yeah.
There's that little dock at the back. He can just go over and fall down onto that dock, and then he's in the kitchen, he's fine.
Right.
And so that's where the session ended, with the proprietor had just like slid across the roof on the beam shot. He's quick thinking, grabbing that beam shot.
Yeah.
That he only saw active once.
And all the minions have been killed, which I mean that's really where the arcane lock made the difference, right? All the big tough monsters were trapped outside for a long time before they could break their way in, while they killed all the minions. So all the big tough monsters are up on the roof, on the opposite side of where he is.
Set the roof on fire. What kind of attacks do these silt monsters have?
They basically shove themselves in your face and drown you. There's the main silt, like the small silt monsters put their hand in your face and do a little bit of damage, but it does ongoing damage as they try to drown you. And then the bigger ones that are more muddy are even worse. They shove their hand or whatever in your face, and they force the mud down your throat into your lungs. And actually, this happened to someone. I don't remember who it was, but it does a lot of ongoing damage, and you get mud in your lungs, and that mud is still part of it, so they can slide you around until you save out of the damage. So they're just, you're being pulled around by your lungs.
I don't remember that part. Must not have happened.
It only happened to one person. I think it was Aurora. Yeah, Aurora was standing at the door, and it shoved mud into her lungs and then pushed her back away.
Was that after that she went like black hole or something? Because I remember she did something all glowy and awesome.
I think it was more. She did
As
something
part of
very
that,
glowy and
yeah,
shiny in the kitchen,
It
and
was
that
part of that intimidate check she did.
and it was
Or
part
it
of
at the same time. She did it?
I don't remember, but it was part of what was good about the kitchen too, because like if you do stuff in the kitchen, you get some sort of buff from Aurora too. I don't remember what it was though, because she was shining,
Yeah.
and she pulled out her shiny miniature that she'd painted all shiny. Because I got 2 copies of those bone miniatures.
Yeah.
She found the one that looks like her, and then she found the duplicate of it.
Yeah,
and
so
she
she
painted
painted
one
shiny.
normal and one shiny.
Those people who were staying in the inn with us, they are so stupid. We're being attacked, and we knew we were going to be attacked. We were forewarned. The nice innkeeper who's running around being killed outside, poor guy, warned us ahead of time. And so we barred the doors, and we knew they were going to come in. And all of these fellow patrons, these stupid people, they run around like chickens with their heads cut off. And they ran to the other part of the inn, and, well, at least half of them ran into the other part of the inn. The other half were too scared to run away. But that's okay, because they're still alive. The other ones, they all died. Well, we assumed they died. We heard screaming. And we're going to eat your blood. We're going to want your blood. Your blood is ours. That's it. Thanks for kidding.
Of course.
But how stupid can you get?
You know, at first I was really bothered by all the invisible drow wizards casting magic everywhere. But then I found out that it makes changing the dream really easy. I mean, I can go anywhere I like, provided it's in the kitchen.
Well, this is interesting. We have these water things attacking us in the middle of the night, and they're going after the innkeeper. Don't really know why. They want his blood, I guess. They made a deal with him. I don't understand, but we have the kitchen locked down pretty well. There's us in here. There's some other random townsfolk in here. And yeah, we got it locked down pretty well. And it's weird, there's a wife doer in here. I haven't seen one of those in ages. I don't even really know what it's for, but whatever. Wife doer. Those things are weird. Anyway, well, I managed to get the innkeeper to safety, flung him up on the roof, but I kind of fell. Not one of my most graceful moments, but anyway, he's safe. These guys really aren't too dangerous, especially the little ones. They just pop really easily. So I think we got this mostly under control, although the town kind of seems to be on fire. That's not good. We might want to do something about that afterwards. But hey, one thing at a time.
Well, we've had quite an interesting night. I really want to go outside and see if there's stars out, but everyone says I have to stay in the kitchen. Even Cricket told me to go back into the kitchen. I don't know why. I'm not as good a cook as her or anything. Yeah, it's been interesting. These large watery creatures were trying to get in the door, and I was holding onto the door as well as I could, pushing my weight against it. And I had some locals help me. And some of the members of my party were saying mocking type things as if I would not be able to hold the door. But I just knew I could do it. I just knew if I tried hard enough, I'd be able to hold that door. And I did it. It was very satisfying. And then I just explained to the creatures on the other side that although they believed that our blood belonged to them, that their water belonged to us. And if they would like to keep their water, they should vamoose. Somebody told me that means leave. I hope it does. Otherwise, I might have just sworn in another language, which Aderon would get after me for. But he's not here anymore, so it's okay. And then Hank fell down, which was very embarrassing for him, I'm sure. Maybe I shouldn't have written that down here. Okay, I'll cross that part out. And then Hank did this amazing thing where he grabbed the alligator mermaid thing by the tail and went up and threw him on the roof. And then, oh, he was so generous. I'm so proud of him. He left the hook shot up there. So the alligator guy, Meyer Man could get away, and then he used his own body to try to squash the water bag creatures below. It was so thoughtful of him. Oh, Hank, I'm so proud of you. Way to go. Way to think of others before yourself. That was terrific. I'm sure Cricket would all agree. I'm sure Cricket, did you see it happen?
Yes, and that's exactly how it happened.
Oh, aren't you proud of Hank?
Oh, yes, very much so. It was glorious.
Yeah, it was so good. And I was that the water creatures would then attack him, but they didn't. I think they were afraid of him because of his heroism and thoughtfulness for others. So now we're going to go back into the kitchen. Maybe there'll be some leftovers we could eat while we're waiting for the things to come back. Oh, I'm starting to get a bit tired. Oh, I might pop out and see the stars and then lay down for a few.
Well, I must say, I'm pleasantly surprised. These barbarians are more civilized than I initially thought. This way station out in the middle of the shallow sea, it has a Wife-Doer 4000. That's a very advanced model. I wasn't expecting equipment nearly that sophisticated out here. It has all the features that you'd expect of a Wife-Doer. You could find something like this in the, outlying hinterlands of the Empire, I suppose. Well, very surprised. Oh, yes. Also besieged by blood-drinking monsters. That's a little more expected of a barbarian hovel like this. I suppose, nothing's perfect. It's expected. It balances out.